Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to this new Business Hangouts testimonial webinar. We are delighted to have our friend Heather Kraafter with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
Hello, Heather. And we have also my colleague Guillaume.
Hello, hello.
Wonderful. Okay, let's see who we have here in the audience. Let's have a look at the map. We are going to start with a short conversation with, actually not a short one, and half of our presentation today is with Heather, and the second half is about Business Hangouts and a reminder for those who know and for the newcomers. What is Business Hangouts about? So a presentation of Business Hangouts features and functions. So two sections, overall 1 hour, half of it with Heather. Heather needs to go because she has her live event today. So you are more than welcome to join her, I think.
Oh yeah. I think you'll put the link in for me, won't you? So I don't have to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to put the link. Actually, I'm going to put it right now in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
So
Yeah.
it is in 2 hours from now. Is that correct?
Yes. We'll be going live in 2 hours. So you're welcome to come and join us and see how I use Business Hangouts every week.
That's wonderful. So that's why she will leave us after her talk, and then we'll continue with those who are interested with Business Hangouts and features and functions. So let's start with you, Heather. Then tell us a little bit about yourself and the Kraafter business or community, or what you do with Kraafter.
Well, the Craft Shack started purely by accident. I just needed some place to hang out and to do crafts, and so I created my own space. That's really what the Craft Shack started out as. I I would say that Craft Shack has evolved, and our first and foremost focus, I guess, would be community. And we have a thriving community on Google Plus, which is a great place for. I think we have a few of our members actually in the audience today, so I wanted to say hi to them. And we just lift up and encourage each other on our crafty journeys, and that's really what the entire community is about. But it also includes other things like Facebook and Instagram. We reach out through Twitter and through Pinterest. We create and collaborate on boards on Pinterest too. So the community is kind of spread out all over social media, but we really play hard in G+.
Great. So that's actually one of the reasons community obviously requires a good communication and being in touch with your audience and with your members. So that's how you started with Hangouts on Air. How long ago?
Oh gosh, it was January of 2013, so it's been quite a bit over a year that we've been doing Hangouts. I didn't even know they were called Hangouts when it first started, which is like the second component of what I believe Craft Shack is my Craft It Live show. And when we started, I didn't know they were Hangouts. I just was given this blue button on YouTube and I pushed it. And I think I might have had 2 people watching me at the same time, like the whole hour, maybe. But we've grown a little bit since then. We've got a few more viewers, and it's something we do every week on Tuesdays, and it's a lot of fun. My tagline for the show is "Where fun is to be had, and mistakes are bound to happen." I guarantee that. So as a matter of fact, Michael Daniels, one of the audience members today, he loves it when I drop something. It's like he's been waiting. I think kind of like when you go to like a car race. And nobody wants to admit this, but when the cars actually crash and something happens, everybody's waiting for that moment to happen. But it's kind of like that on the show. So.
Absolutely. So you are a pioneer on Hangouts on Air. That's amazing.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, you are. So
don't make me scared and nervous, Darius.
You're not. You're not. I'm congratulating you for being one of those pioneers on Hangouts on Air. So How did you get to learn about Business Hangouts, and what made you invest time and choose Business Hangouts to run your webinars or your shows, your events, live events?
Well, that goes back to that blue button. Remember that I didn't know they were called Hangouts back then, and I'd been given this blue button from YouTube. And then sometime around May, I went to use my blue button, and it was gone. And sheer panic ensued because I did not know how to do whatever it was that I was doing at the time. I didn't know. And without the blue button, how could I then do the show that was supposed to be starting soon? So I kind of quickly told everyone on Facebook. At the time I was only on Facebook because, again, I didn't know about Hangouts. I won't be having a show today because I can't find my blue button. And I frantically searched everywhere for where's my blue live button. And I ran across this guy named Ronnie Bincer, and he was this Hangouts guy who was like help with Hangouts, and I didn't understand what Hangouts were. So this didn't connect to me too well. And at some point,
blue button like this?
It was a blue button similar to that, but it was like it said go live now, and the blue button was sitting on your screen.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so then so then I meet this guy, and I talk to him about it, and he's laughing at me because, you know, it was clearly Hangouts that I was doing, but I didn't even know that's what they were called. And so through his help and what I needed to know and everything, and I know that at the beginning of when you guys got started, there was a connection there. So I learned through Ronnie Bincer about Hangouts, about business Hangouts. And I remember being on your very first office hours and asking some questions and realizing at the end of that conversation, business Hangouts wouldn't work for me. And here I am, and it's like a year later, and I'm using it all the time, so it's kind of funny.
Absolutely, I very well remember that one. You were not only in the first office hours we had, but you were also the first to ask the question. And I remember when we were editing the first video on YouTube to put it live and share it with everyone. Your first question, you know, when you make editing of a video, you go through the same thing over and over. So I was hearing you, I have a question, and you were repeating, I have a question. I'll never forget that.
Oh, that I don't know if that's good, Darius.
No, it's a very good souvenir. So you were exposed to Business Hangouts, but it took you about quite a while, 10, 12 months before you switched. So why did you switch? What made you switch?
Oh, that's great questions. First of all, I obviously got that blue button, and I was just being on YouTube with my videos, and I didn't realize there was a G+, and I then was introduced to Google+ and what Hangouts actually were, and then I started using Google+ events to host my show every week. And I realized some things were very difficult about that. Number one, in a standard, for those who don't know, maybe you've never been to a Google+ event, but the standard event holds the picture in place up at the top of the event, and all the comments flow below that. And the details are off to the side over here, and you can, of course, make it bigger, a bigger screen so that you can watch that, but it actually makes it bigger for YouTube, and then you can't interact with the comments. And that was very disturbing to me. I felt like it made the video the prominent feature, and it took the people out of the experience. One of the things I really liked when I first saw Business Hangouts was that there was the video along with, and I'm not sure where it plays on, if I'm pointing to the right place or not, but I think along on the side over there are all the comments that are happening, and I keep hearing that there are comments being made. As a participant here, I can hear this noise that takes place and lets me know that a new comment has been made. These are reminding me that there is an audience out there and that there are people out there to connect with, and that is really what I have been all about in my show. Even when I only had 2 people watching, I think both of them at the same time, I really wanted to connect with those people. And I couldn't really do that the way a traditional event is housed or the way that things are housed on other sites like YouTube or Google+. With this, there are many things, like I can put it on my website and bring everybody to one link, and I only ever have to remember one link. That I like a lot. I like being able to say to someone when I meet them on the street, yeah, I do a live show every Tuesday. You actually just go to craftshack.com/live and you can go watch it anytime. And I like that. I like being able to share it on Facebook and not being reprimanded because it's not a Google Plus thing. Sometimes those two don't get along very well, so I like being able to share my website link, and Facebook treats it differently. There are many advantages that I've experienced that I didn't even know I would like, but what actually brought me to thinking about giving BHO a try, that would probably be my two really good friends, Michael Daniels and Andrew Hatchett, because they use it every day, and so I was kind of immersed in it. And after realizing, oh, you can do that? Oh, it's not like that all the time? Oh, I'm in charge of that? Maybe I'll give this a shot. And that's what we did.
Absolutely. I remember some of the gatherings of Michael and Andrew, and you were one of the permanent members of the group, and you were continued to be exposed to Business Hangouts thanks to Michael and Andrew, so it's interesting. First advantage you noticed is a more interactive and closer environment, which is one of the reasons we develop Business Hangouts in an environment which is a little bit more closed. It can be private or public. That's another question, but still is closed, a closer environment. and then you have the benefit of you saw the benefit of having on different properties like Facebook and Google Plus, and more importantly your own website. And the link that you mentioned is actually yet another way of using kind of a permanent area. Technically, it's due to the fact that you can embed Business Hangouts into a web page, but one of the results that you have from that, I mean, there are many results. You want to have, more loyal users to your website, get them used to your website, create traffic on your website, show them some other stuff from your website. That's one reason. But you have you pointed out yet another reason is that it's a single, permanent, easy to remember URL. That's all great.
Yeah, these are all the things that I loved. And then another thing that I really felt was great, and it goes back to that interaction, is that as the host, I get to see all the names of the people who are watching. I never experienced that before. So I would get messages from people after the show was over. Yeah, I did watch live. I wouldn't know that unless they let me know. Now I get to actually see them, and I see a profile picture of some sort, and I can see that they typically use Facebook more, they typically use LinkedIn more, or whatever it is, and I know where to connect with them now personally, and that is very important to me in my business. So I've enjoyed every aspect of it, minus a few things, and I know we'll get to those in a little bit. So I'll let you ask the questions.
Great. So on that part, I guess what you are mentioning is that in Google Plus, because that was you were using Google Plus events, when someone says yes or no or maybe, that has no effective meaning at all. Someone can say no and they actually come and watch. Someone can say yes and they actually don't come and don't watch. So here it's very clear. Not only you can see people in real time, but also you have access at the back end on the exact list of who registered and who showed up, and consequently who was absent.
Yeah, and that is really valuable to me because I see, I can also see things like, is this time working for most people? Are they having to come back and watch? Are the majority of them having to come back and watch at a different time because it's not working for them? I could then adjust my entire schedule because of that alone. I'm not going to yet, so please don't panic, folks. But I could if I found that to be valuable. And another thing is, now I don't do this at the moment, and I'm working on something for the new year, but with that information that I've gathered from them, and I only require their name and email address, I don't require anything else, but you have options as a user to require much more information if you'd prefer. But I am then able to let them know I've got a new show, a new lineup, or something that I've got going on in the future. I'll be able to inform them about changes we might make. Like, let's say I do decide I'm going to change the time of Craft It Live. How better than to say to all those who have been coming for the last couple of months that, hey guys, letting you know I'm going to be changing the time. Now they won't miss it. That's just genius.
Excellent. That's wonderful. We are getting also some questions, and I will be starting to share some of them. Just a quick one here from Nazim Beltran, who is asking if there is a comment tracker. I don't know. Is there any comment tracker here?
That's funny, Darius. That's funny. So the answer then obviously is yes, Nazim. So we can, as the host, which Darius in this particular one is the host, and Guillaume is a moderator. So either one of them can actually pull up those comments and then put it right there on screen. And here's something you might not realize, those of you watching. You can actually personalize that background. So that gray faded out background that they are using, and it says question or comment up at the top, they've created that background specifically for their use. I have a different one that looks a lot more crafty, of course, and I've been able to use that as another perk of customization for my background for my comments.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us a little bit about the challenges. You know, what was tough with Business Hangouts? I'm sure with any tool, it requires some learning. So what were your challenges there?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you know, I'm just going to put this out here. I'm a crafty girl trying to make it in a techie world, and Business Hangouts is quite techie. There are things that you do need to really learn. Probably one of my biggest ones was code, needing to be able to personalize my email and things like that. I had good helpers, but the bottom line was, in order to customize those emails, I did have to learn some code. Now, I will say, Business Hangouts has done a lot for us as users to be able to just utilize the emails that they already have. So you don't have to customize. But if you want to include something like your logo, or instead of the Business Hangouts green, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't quite go with my flowers. But if you were to want to change those colorings, then you have to know a little bit about code. And so that was a little tough, and I've learned a lot. But that part was tough. The other thing I would think probably that sticks out the most to me is understanding all the terminology and what it actually translates to, what the viewer experiences, and how what my little movements, my little changes within my customization make things difficult or more I don't want to say difficult, but difficult, I guess, for the viewer, for the person who's trying to register and log in. So there were some things like the details section on the registration page, for example. I didn't realize that putting in pictures and a whole lot of text and everything that I was adding would actually extend the registration box. And rather than extending the box itself, the iframe that the embed code is in, it actually just filled up. So you had to scroll down to find where to log in. And I didn't realize that. So my very first show, I think I made some cute changes at the end, and I created a little bit of issues for people, but learning that was very important, and now I don't do that.
Great, yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, these are, as you mentioned, customization capabilities, which are not mandatory. When you use a Google Plus event or Facebook event, they are all using their own branding, and you don't have to take care of those, but you don't have the ability to change them. And you can use it the same way, Business Hangouts, not customizing but of course the benefit is to customize, and I think it's worth doing that. That it then it becomes more your environment and create more loyalty from your base and within your community.
Well, and I'll admit too that after now doing it and knowing what I'm doing, it's more fun. I mean, I feel when I get into like a standard business hangouts, like we walked in today, I'm just going to tell on you a little bit. We walked in today and we saw all 4 quadrants. And immediately I went to go change that because I'm used to seeing what I want to see in my show. So I was like, oh, that's right. This is not my show.
All right. I'm glad I changed it quite fast so that you feel as you are in your show.
Yeah.
Anything else to add? Things you mentioned several things that you like or the challenges with Business Hangouts. So anything else you want to add before we take some questions or comments from the audience?
Sure. I would say probably my favorite part about doing all of this, I've already said, is the interaction and the fact that I get to actually interact with the people that I know are watching because I can see their faces. But one of the other things that I really like is the fact that it is on my website. I'm now able to freely share things that are going on my website. Now, we can always do that in any other platform that we're on, but it seems like it makes sense that they're already on the website. I don't even have to give them a reason to go there. They're already there. So things like the fact that I'm going to be opening a store real soon, an online store where I'll sell the products that I actually use, that's exciting because now people are there already, so they don't feel like they have to do something extra. So I really like that. I like the traction that my website is getting because everybody has told me for 2 years now that you have to have a website, but yet we were doing all these things everywhere else but the website. So it was very confusing to me, and now I feel like I've finally connected those dots thanks to Business Hangouts.
Wonderful. This is a great statement. Heather, first, congratulations for your plan to open a store. It was a scoop for me. I don't know for anyone else. That's great. And then yes, this concept is very very dear to me. The fact that people realize that they need to build their own properties, their own digital business assets. That's how I call them. And I think I had a webinar on it back in May, encouraging everyone to build their own business because you don't have control on what's going on with Google Plus or Facebook. These are fast-changing environments, and the environments can literally change in a way that you don't have even access to them. And very important point, I'm not sure if everyone is realizing, is that all those fans you have in your pages and followers you have on different social media, including Google Plus, they are not yours. You don't even have their email addresses. You don't even, you cannot even download, except for LinkedIn, where you can export your list of contacts. That's why I really love LinkedIn and the a very customer-centric approach where you can download your list of contacts. In none of the other environments, Twitter, Google Plus, or Facebook, you have the ability to take away what you have built during years and walk away. That's not an option for you. So you better build your own environment, your list of customers, your list of users, friends, community, whatever, depending on your business, whatever the term is, and be independent and using, because these systems are free and they are using the information with each, they have their own goals. Facebook has a goal for advertising. Google Plus also has a goal for advertising. So it's not free. They are taking the information for their own purposes, and that's fine. We play that game. We know it. We do it. But if you want to build your business on it, be careful. Have your plan B and backup as you go. So I stop talking now.
No, I completely agree, and I think that Business Hangouts allows you so many different options that I would be careful if this is the first time to business hangouts, be careful getting overwhelmed. Start simple, start slow. Go with the basics that they've already provided for you. Give a hangout a shot using the business hangouts, and then you can see from there what it is that you might want to customize, and then you can get into whether you need to pay or not, because it's going to depend on your audience, the size of your audience, and the different things like that. And I don't want to go into your presentation for later, because I know that you'll do that after I leave. So, right. But I do want to say that to those watching, that if you're looking at business hangouts for the first time, just get started.
Great. Thank you. Let's take some comments and questions. I see Michael Daniels, who was instrumental in spreading the information on business hangouts, including to you, Heather.
Absolutely.
So one thing Michael is mentioning is in our little history of interactions, one Hangout live event where we were watching another Hangout on air while being in our Hangout on air.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Having the shared content area is something that's very unique to Business Hangouts, and I've yet to use it to its fullest potential, but you can actually put a Hangout that is happening live right now. You can put that into the shared content area, and then several folks join in and watch that. Like, you know, it's almost like, I think you even said this, being in your living room watching TV together. It's a lot of fun. I remember laughing, and I think that's even on your, I think it's on your demo page, isn't it? On the website, Business Hangouts?
It's on our channel, YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Another comment, I'm privileging my friend Michael, from Michael here. I'm manipulating this properly. Here we go. So commenting about the fact that today we have people from LinkedIn, Google+, and Facebook. So yeah. I also saw that, Michael. Thank you.
Very cool. And I know I saw a customer there about, I thought I saw a question about how I could get started, other than to obviously, you know, sign up for Business Hangouts. But how could, I think it was Maribel. I don't know if you see that one. Look at 923.
For someone wanting to get started, is that the one?
Yeah, yes, that's it right there.
Okay.
Yeah, so for someone wanting to get started with BHO, what would you suggest that gets done first, besides obviously signing up? What would you suggest that they do? I mean, for me, I immersed myself in it long before I decided to actually physically use it. So.
Right. Well, the standard recommendation is to use the how-to page. There is a how-to page prominently accessible from the homepage of businesshangouts.com, and I'm going to post that right now into the chat so that you don't have to look for it. But if you go to businesshangouts.com, there is a how-to page, and that how-to page gives you a lot of resources. Of course, there are tutorial videos there, which are probably the most common things. But it's not just that. If you look into at the beginning, especially at the beginning, there is a manual. There are FAQs, very specific FAQs. So if you go through all those resources, of course, it will take a little bit of time, but you will be up to speed quite fast. And one other thing I would like to mention here for newcomers is that Heather has been, as she said, has been running Hangouts on air for about 1.5 years, if I count well, before switching to Business Hangouts. And Hangouts on air and Business Hangouts, although they are based on the same technology. I mean, Business Hangouts is based on Hangouts on air. The process and the learning is very different. It's totally different. Hangouts on air are more public, more social. Business Hangouts is more private, not necessarily fully private unless needed, but it's more private, as Heather explained, more interactive, perfectly for groups of in between 10 to 200. That's the sweet spot for business hangouts. That's the ideal. Why Hangouts on Air? Well, the most successful Hangouts on Air are, by celebrities or President of the United States, where you broadcast with less interactivity to a very large audience. That's the sweet spot for Hangout on Air. I know many people use it also for smaller groups, but the sweet spot for Hangouts on Air is those very large events. That's why Google built it. So because of different missions and different positioning of these two products, the process are quite different. For instance, in Business Hangouts, the very first thing you do is to schedule a Business Hangouts and get the registration link and send it out so that people can register. This is a very simple process, and those who have done webinars, the process to go. On Google Plus, you would go with an event, create an event, and push the event into your followers, which is very different. You don't go to an emailing system, sending them a Google Plus event link, for instance. So the processes are quite different, and there is also a side-by-side comparison of the prices and of the processes. With a checklist to go that we can share also in the chat. If someone has it, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I will post it shortly in the chat.
Yeah, and I would also add that that's probably the biggest learning curve for me, was the fact that I had used Google Plus events and wanting something to do that way, and then struggling with unlearning that way to be able to learn this. So that's probably my biggest struggle, is or was that I was so used to the way that Google Plus did it, and again, like you said, it was more of a push. It was all on me to make sure it was in their face, and it was something that they experienced. And I don't work very well with that, so I didn't have very high attendance on many of those events either. So that's something that I've also seen a benefit from. We've had a much higher attendance and a much higher rate of people actually sticking around for the whole show.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great. I was looking at the questions. I think Michael,
I think they're all about business hangouts, I think.
Right. Exactly. There are many questions on business hangouts, and Guillaume and Michael are answering most of them. Well, any last word before you leave, Heather?
Oh, I didn't tell my very favorite part. Can I tell my very favorite part of business hangouts?
Oh, sure.
How much this company cares about the user's experience has the changes that I've seen take place in the last year, because as I said before, I was there that first office hours, and I've been to many, and I've gone through the whole year of trying really hard to figure out a reason to use Business Hangouts, and it didn't happen until this year. And it turns out many of the things that kept me from using it last year have changed, and not because of me, but because they've cared about what their users experience. And that means a lot to me. And I'm talking to the audience, and I'm not talking to you two right now because it's weird to talk about you while you're sitting right there. But really, the genius behind Business Hangouts is the fact that they care so much about the user experience that they're willing to make certain changes just to make it better for us as somebody who hosts, and for the viewers who just come in and watch. So I have really appreciated all of that, and I'm very grateful to Business Hangouts for what they've given, because I now use it because of a lot of that.
I tried to walk away so that you feel comfortable. So, but I heard everything. So thank you very much, Heather, for all these kind words and for being a user of Business Hangouts. Thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
special thanks for having been here today and shared your experience with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm really glad that I was able to do it, and now to have the experience that I've had, and to be able to share it with people. I really hope to see many more people using Business Hangouts on their website, because really, as I was told for the last 2 whole years, that's really where your business happens. So you need to make sure you're doing something to bring people there and to keep them there. And a webinar is a great way to do it, or in my case, a crafty show.
Thank you very much. Great testimonial. I know you need to go and prepare your own show. So the link is in the chat. Feel free to join Heather and see what she's talking about in live interaction.
Yeah. See you all later. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Bye-bye.
All right, so let's continue. I see that there are some questions on Business Hangouts, so let me share a few slides with Business Hangouts. Maybe some of your questions will be answered there, and then we will take any unanswered questions at the end. So this presentation is focused on Business Hangouts and Google Apps. But it allows us to go through some of the features. We also talk about our managed services for your events and conferences, or training services as well, not just features. A few words about the company. We are a small company and growing thanks to our latest product, Business Hangouts, based in Irvine, California, and Paris, France. Small business with a mission of bringing next generation of visual live technologies for collaboration. Collaboration is events, conferences, trade shows, trainings, meetings, which are accessible to all, lowering the barrier to access these high-end technologies at a low cost and also at a small amount of training. We have all sorts of customers from individuals, very small businesses, up to larger government and defense, Fortune 500 companies. So very diversified groups of users and customers. Many compare Business Hangouts to products such as WebEx and GoToMeeting and Link and etc. Let's have a look quickly on what are the differences. First of all is scalability. Thanks to Hangouts on air and the YouTube platform, literally you don't have limitations with Business Hangouts and Google Hangouts. You do have limitations to if you want to use in a webcast mode to some 10,000 users with Business Hangouts, but and if you activate the chat and you want to keep it interactive, you have actually even lower limitation. But if you just want to broadcast in a similar way than other systems, you have literally no limitation. Number of simultaneous video streams is 10 on a free account, 15 on a paid account by Google Apps. Other systems are more limited. There is a very open environment and API on Google environment allowing to use different apps, and that's a benefit to you as a user. That feature is not available from those vendors. It's a feature is answered by them if it is answered, and if it's not, well, bad for the user. There is no third party to go to get the solution. And finally, in terms of pricing, Business Hangouts is available for free forever, up to 20 users, and for only $49 a month, you have full feature with Business Hangouts. One of the questions is, how does Business Hangouts compare to Hangouts? or to Hangouts on air. If you look at this diagram where you would consider the level of privacy of your Hangout and the size in terms of number of attendees of your Hangouts, you will notice that Hangouts is a good solution for small private meetings, and Hangouts on air is a great solution for large public events. But if you want a larger event than what you can do with 10 people in Hangouts, but you still want some privacy in your events, there is no solution, and that's where Business Hangouts came into the show. Here's the coverage of Business Hangouts in terms of where it applies privacy versus size. So basically, both aspects, privacy and size, are okay with Business Hangouts, unlike Hangouts and Hangouts on air. So that's our positioning. More benefits of Business Hangouts over for Google Apps users or over Hangouts, which is the basic technology we are using. You know, this is again an answer to the question, why do I need Business Hangouts if I'm already using Hangouts and Hangouts on air? So typically it extends your capacity as we are seeing it today. Right now we have 21 people, 19 viewers, 2 participants, depending on who comes in and goes out in the room. In a private environment, well, that's not possible with the Hangouts because it's limited to 15 people. Self-registered meetings. This is something that many customers love about it. They can just throw out a link and have users manage it, not going through the invite process in the Hangouts in the upper area to invite individually or create circles ahead of time and those things. It's email-centric. Everything is email-based, unlike social media, which are notification-based. So if you are not on that social media, if you're not on Google+, you don't see the notification. Emails are not only more reliable, they work all the time, but also they are kept and they can be stored, they can be kept for further use. So invitation emails, reminders, everything comes in an email. Some customers want to avoid the Google+ user interface, especially in businesses, in companies, small or big. They prefer their users to not be spending time on a social media. Some of us may argue that, but that's how it works. They prefer their employees being focused on more serious stuff and not necessarily social media. That's a way to totally avoid the Google+ user interface. If you have noticed, we are totally disconnected from the Google+ user interface. You got your email invitation and you walked in with no interaction with any of them. But you still can use your social media login with Facebook, LinkedIn, or Google+ to walk in. Your meetings can be private, unlisted Hangouts on air. This is one of those that we are running right now. And see who is watching, and we mentioned this with Heather earlier, who effectively attended, how much time they watched. You can actually have detailed statistics out of your Business Hangouts. The unified chat on the right, which unifies people from different sign-ins here, and it stays in the replay after the event. So that's another benefit of Business Hangouts over the standard Google Apps users. You can invite a viewer from the panel from the viewers into the panel. So at the end of this Hangouts, if you have, you want to meet with us face to face and you want to join the panel, I'll be happy to invite whoever is interested. Just raise your hand and I will bring you in for a short talk at the end. I actually brought in Heather because she was a guest earlier that way. And finally, sharing interactive content that I have not done today, where we can share polls, quizzes, videos, or any call to action in another window. And for some of you who are in a learning process with the Hangouts on Air itself, you may have noticed that there are a lot of things to learn through different modules, through different programs, some of them from Google, some of them from third parties, and there is a process which is explained and learned in some communities to go through in order to learn how to use Hangouts on Air. In our case, there's just one tool. It's called Business Hangouts. Everything is in there. You don't need to use any of those external tools and external modules. It's all in a package, all together in a Business Hangouts. How it works, a few screenshots of how it works. You set up your date and time in a 4-steps scheduling wizard, and customize your registration. You define basically who can walk in, which systems they can sign in with. You decide if you want to promote sharing buttons for your attendees. You decide if you want to collect more information than just their social media and their social profile and their email address. You may want to collect, street address, company name, phone number, industry, and some other information, and customize your banners and registration page as well. We have an integrated HTML editor if you want to fully customize your registration page. That was what Heather was talking about. She wanted to get maximum benefit out of Business Hangouts, so she wanted to customize her registration pages. So this one is a non-customized registration page. This one is a fully customized with an embed of a teaser video in with promos and everything you want to encourage people about joining your event. So that's how it works with an integrated HTML editor. And then a manage button or manage space where you define if it's a Hangout on Air. You define the level of privacy of your YouTube video as it is being live broadcast. Of course, you can do it manually after the event in YouTube, but you can do it here during the event with Business Hangouts. And the registration link that you will share, the meeting link, which is also called a panic link, which gives direct access to your attendees if you want to share it. And you can manage your attendees, promote them to panelists, or maybe you want to remove them from the list of invitees, and so on. And once the event is over, you have all this information in the past Hangouts tab where the event appears, and you can access the list of those who registered, those who got confirmed, those who were present, effectively attended the meeting, and those who were absent. So you can send them directly emails from Business Hangouts to each category. We can have fixed URLs in a permanent virtual rooms, no scheduling attached. Proper slideshow feature where you can have your video side by side with your slides, as you have been seeing in some of the more recent large events by Apple or by Google. We can do that in Business Hangouts as well, and that's the user interface for the slideshow. Another feature, which is actually another app called Business Hangouts for Docs add-on, is an add-on on Google Docs, where when you are collaborating on a Google Docs document, you can take it into a Business Hangout with all the collaborators, so that not only people can access that document simultaneously, but also you can see and hear each other for that. A little interesting feature is the drag and drop. You can drag a document from your desktop and drop it in the chat file when you want to share it with your audience inside the room. And here's the share video feature that I was mentioning. You have the ability inside a business hangout to share a video with your audience. It is simultaneously sent, pushed actually on your attendees' screen all at the same time in a synchronous manner. That same upper right window can also be used, and it can be enlarged for other calls to action, typically a poll or a quiz or a survey that you can run with your audience. Pricing, free for up to 20 users with some limited features, but decent features. All the registration, very important things are covered here. If you need reminder emails and customized emails, you can use the $19 monthly. And if you need privacy parameters, which is one of the key reasons people come to Business Hangouts, and actually it's our most popular plan, is the $49 monthly. And we are soon going to announce another possibility here, and that's the webcasting, in order to be able to go to thousands of simultaneous viewers. So we will have something to announce very soon in that area. All right, we have 8 more minutes to go, so let me share a little bit about our managed services. If you have an event and you don't want to go through all the learning process, which may take weeks before you are up to date and ready to run your own events, well, we have the experience and we do that, so we'll be happy to run it for you. And we have done recently several meetings for a lot of non-profits, large organizations, international and global meetings, just setting up for you and being your technical host, and you have the content and you will speak, and your host as well. The type of virtual event formats can be a keynote conference, can be breakout sessions in parallel, running the same day, networking breaks using our 3D environment, trade shows and exhibitors, booths, same way. So there are a lot of interesting things that you can learn about on our website on what we do in the 3D environment as well as in Business Hangouts. In a managed service, here's the process. We start by consulting with you, reviewing your goals. We set up your event. We manage all the registration, customize your emails and reminders. Or if you are doing the registration on your own website, we will integrate it into Business Hangouts through the API. We deliver the registration link so that you can share it with your audience. We will train your moderators and speakers. That's an important part of any successful event. I was lucky to have Heather today, who was already an expert on Business Hangouts, but some other guests may not have the same experience, so they need to be coached and trained so that the show goes smoothly. We technically host and moderate your event, build a 3D networking lounge if necessary as an option, and transition from Business Hangouts at the end to that 3D environment. We set up the follow-up emails for you and deliver at the end, after the event, the list of registrants, attendees, absents, etc. By emails and social media profiles, so that you can have your marketing takeaway from your event, and of course the recording of that event. And in a 3D environment, basically with Business Hangouts, we deliver the content, and we engage with the engage and network. And so two different steps that we encourage you to consider as well. The post-event part is, socializing, networking, engaging all together. I'm not going to go through the details of the Google Apps admins. If there are any Google Apps admins, contact us for a more detailed presentation here. But the admins of Google Apps have a lot of more features at their disposal in order to manage their domain, their company's registration and subscriptions and users and so on. So there's a whole lot of features out there for the Google Apps admins. So my last slide is this one. There is a guaranteed satisfaction for every monthly subscriber on business plan and pro plans. So you have no risk to give it a try. You will get access to the technical support community by subscribing to a premium account. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. You are invited to check it out, look at which plan applies the best for you, and subscribe. And for education and nonprofits, those with EDU addresses and nonprofits, a second account is offered for any subscription. So if you subscribe for one account, you get 2. Subscribe for 2, you get 4, and so on. So that was my last slide. Thanks for having stayed until the end, and I'm now going to take some questions here. I see that there are some questions highlighted here, so let's take them. I would like to have a link to a copy of it as well as possible. Sure. So that's Alexa asking for this, and I'm going either to send it into the chat or actually send you a link to that. So maybe it's easier to give it a chat. So I will do that in a second. Alexa, no problem. Then we have, I love the idea of managed services. I'm going to share this link with a couple of folks. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Debbie. Highly appreciate that. A very cool, kind of like Second Life. Yes, Nazim, if you're familiar with Second Life, this is a light version of Second Life with really no learning curve, with HTML5 not requiring any installation. As you know, Second Life requires quite a heavy installation and requires high-end computers to run them. It's really a gaming environment. That's our background for your information, but we wanted to have something which is much more accessible, running on all computers, even on mobiles. Actually, it runs on HTML on mobile, which is amazing. Maybe with not all the features and details and bells and whistles that you have in Second Life, but with enough to be interesting. Another question we have. Managed services, Maribel, thank you for all the kind words here. All right, so while we are here, let me, as we went through all the questions, let me grab a copy of these slides and send it into the chat. Google Apps. Okay. Here we go. So I just shared the slides. So you have certainly received a pop-up on your window asking for authorization. So if you're interested in that document, just accept the download, and it will be downloaded for you. And for those who join this later in a replay, the link in the chat will be available in the post event as well. So at any time you can click on that link, which is bhogoogleapps.pdf, and take it away. And Andrew, who is liking that drag and drop, thank you so much, Andrew. I also love it this way. I don't have an action item after the event. It's done. You're welcome, Maribel. All right, we are done. It's 10 my time. Thank you very much. Thank you for all of you. If you're interested to have a conversation right now, join us in the panel. Just raise your hand or type in the chat saying that I want to have a talk, and you will bring you into the film strip. And I'm going to stop broadcasting, so there will be no more recording. But again, you are very welcome to join us. Let's have a chat. And for the rest, I would like to thank you, Guillaume, for being here today. And
Thank you, everybody.
And say goodbye to everyone, and see you next time. Next month, actually, I think it's 7th of November. It's on our website, demo page. Join us for our next webinar. And in the meantime, subscribe. There is nothing to lose. Thank you.